Most of us, at some point in our lives, are told that we're in control of our careers, that it's our aspirations that give them shape. But I'm here to offer myself as an example that just as often it can be what other people can imagine for us as it may be what we imagine for ourselves that determine our futures. 7 years ago, I was offered an opportunity that until that point in time, I'd never even considered, to become president of Menlo College. But in the moment, I couldn't envision it. So I said no. My TEDx talk today is about how by eventually saying yes, and thereby becoming something of an accidental president, I changed my life. My story is one of unexpected twists, reluctant decisions, and a whole lot of personal growth. Along the way, I had to explore things within myself that up until that point in my life, I'd not given myself permission to explore, all while stumbling into the role of president of Menlo College. My tale starts long time ago when I was an undergraduate student. I was on the other coast. I was at a university in Boston, and I was studying botany. If anyone wanted to find me, they had a safe bet that they would either be able to do so in one of the campus greenhouses or in a laboratory peering through a microscope to study the cellular level of plants. My dream was to design urban landscapes. Now, fast forward a bunch of decades, I had left greenhouses and microscopes behind. I had obtained an MBA. I had launched my career in academic medical center administration and segued from there to becoming a management consultant. From there, I co-founded a tech startup. These all felt like relatively logical moves. Along the way, I was stretching myself. I was learning new things. I was enjoying the experiences I had, but at no point did it feel like I was operating completely outside of my comfort zone. Also along the way, I interacted with any number of CEOs and presidents, and at no point in time did I ever look at any one of them and say, I want their job. Didn't want it, didn't envision it, didn't miss it. Okay, now fast forward, we're in 2012. My partners and I, 8 years after we launched our startup, we had a buyer. Technically speaking, that's a successful exit of a startup. The only hitch was we sold it for this much money. So I was back in the job market. That coincided with Menlo College advertising for a new role, executive vice president. I explored it. I liked the breadth of the responsibilities. It felt like it would be a challenge for me. It felt like I would be able to apply a lot of the experiences I had gained up to that point to the position. And I kind of liked the title too. Sounded good. I was very pleased when I was subsequently offered the opportunity, and on January 31st, 2013, I joined Menlo College as executive vice president. Now, a few years later, I'm still in the seat of the executive vice president, but the president's seat is empty. The board chair turned to me and asked me to help organize the search for the next president. I thought that was pretty cool. I'd be able to have a say in determining who would be my next boss. I was all in. We organized a search committee. We devised a job description. We identified the key criteria that we thought were essential for the role. We started advertising. At no point along this way did I expect or even entertain the possibility of becoming a candidate for the role. Now, fast forward a bunch of weeks, we had reviewed the resumes of the applicants. We had done some initial telephone screening, and we had a set of finalist candidates to recommend to the board chair. Organized a meeting with the board chair. I had all the materials gathered together in a notebook. Had the notebook on a conference table. Chairman walks in, sits down, looks at the the notebook, he leans over and he closes it. He said, been talking with my other trustees and we've decided we want to suspend the search. We want to offer you the role. I remember thinking, he's talking to a former plant biologist. I mean, this is not the criteria that we're looking for president. Fortunately, I didn't say that. That was in my head. What I said was a little more professional. I said, excuse me, we identified the criteria we're looking for here. And let me just remind you, the top 3 criteria, someone with significant fundraising experience, someone with a broad and deep professional network right here in Silicon Valley, and someone who now and then is willing to pound the table to get their point across. I said, none of that is me. Thank you, but no. 24 hours pass. We meet again. I have that notebook ready. I am prepared to share it with him. And we start out, and he said, look, we've been thinking about this for the last 24 hours, talking with the trustees. We heard you very clearly. You're not interested in pursuing this, but we're still interested in pursuing you. I said, look, I've been thinking about this too over the last 24 hours. And I've come up with this scenario to share with you that I think will help you understand why this feels so wrong to me. I said, just imagine here, we're at a luncheon. We're at the head table, you and me. Everybody else is in the auditorium facing us. The waitstaff comes in. They put down before us a bowl of soup. I'm right-handed. I go to reach for the soup spoon with my right hand, as one would logically do, right? And you say to me, no, I want you to eat that soup with your left hand. I look at him. I look at the soup. I look at my left hand, something I've never done. I look at all these people out there and I say, that soup is going to end up anywhere but my mouth. It's going to be awkward, it's going to be embarrassing, and all these people are going to be watching it. Thank you, but no, that's what you're asking me to do. Another 24 hours pass. This is the last one, I promise. We convene. He said, I realize, and by the way, of course I have my notebook right there. 3rd time, right? I figured that's going to be the charm. He says, I realize I've started this off on the wrong footing. You were expecting that we were looking for someone who had the significant fundraising experience, the deep and broad professional contacts in Silicon Valley, and a tendency to pound on the table. We got it, that's not you. But what I didn't share with you is what we see in you that we think makes you an even more compelling candidate than someone who has all those 3 qualities. He said, we've seen the way in which you are exhibiting your commitment to the success of every Menlo College student and the college more broadly. We've seen the extent to which you've been able to apply your previous experiences to further Menlo's progress. And we also see the way you are able to motivate others. I said yes. Okay, what happened? How did I go from no to yes? Well, there was that flattery. Flattery greases skids, and it felt good, right? It sounded good. It could also be that the universe was nudging me, albeit slowly, nudging me to the yes. But I think most significantly, what got me to that yes was realizing that I was being offered an opportunity that would come around once in my life. And if I said no, it would be no forever. Looking back now, I think there was something else that was informing those 2 no's. And it was reflecting back on all those CEOs and presidents I had observed over the years. And I saw all of them weighed down by the challenges they faced with the job, the sleepless nights over the decisions they had to make. What I didn't see was the joy they were getting from their jobs. I'm not saying they didn't get joy, I just didn't see it. So when I was entertaining the possibility of, over those 72 hours of becoming president of Menlo College, the only thing I could think of were the challenges and the sleepless nights, not the joy. Turns out I was right about the challenges and the sleepless nights. They just keep coming. I've been president now for 7 years, and just the headline challenges that we've had to navigate in that 7-year span, the rise of social media, the advent of this small thing called a global pandemic, a construction of a new residence hall that was scheduled to open just before the start of the fall 2022 semester and opened 2 months late, financial problems, and then, of course, most recently, the terribly flawed roll-up by the federal government of the financial aid system known as FAFSA. Those are just the headline issues. But I knew generically, I didn't know those specific, of course, but I knew generically those problems were ahead of me. And I knew I'd have the sleepless nights. What I didn't know is I'd have the joy. And those joys come every day too, and they're incredibly special. It's the joy of being on the journey with our students as they give definition to their dreams and then start to realize it over the course of their Menlo journey. It's the joy of seeing our faculty and staff demonstrate their commitment to the success of our students each and every day in increasingly creative ways. And then there's this bonus thing going on where I get to go to a whole lot of games, where I see the talent and the drive of our student athletes and their coaching staff on vivid display. That's a bonus. All those joys I wouldn't have had I not gotten to yes. And by the way, there are 2 days in particular that are just overflowing with joy for me. One took place this past August, as it does every August, which is when I had the opportunity to welcome new students to this campus and their families, and in my mind, knowing what their journey ahead will contain. The second day is going to come up this May, as it will every May, which is when I get to stand on the commencement stage and hand every graduate their diploma, knowing that it's so much more than a piece of paper. It's effectively a key that is opening doors that literally changes the trajectory of their lives. Again, those are joys I would not have had I not gotten to yes. When I took the first pass at this talk, I included the saying, "The third time's a charm." But upon reflection, I realized how wrong that was as a message, because very few things come around 3 times. I'm sharing this story not out of pride. I almost made a terrible, terrible error. I'm sharing this story to offer myself as basically a case study of what you should not do, which is pass up opportunities that come your way, and what you should do, which is what I hadn't done up until that point, which is look within yourself to see where you're creating the barriers to innovating change. When the theme of this TEDx was established, breaking barriers, innovating change, I immediately thought of exterior barriers, like the proverbial glass ceiling, and those are very real. But it turns out we create barriers as well. We limit our potential because we think that path surely cannot be for us. So my example and my wish for all of you is to have the opportunity for that self-examination, to see where you may be limiting your potential. My lesson learned: life is way too short not to seize opportunities. So my wish for all of you, the next time opportunity comes along, is for you to seize it. Who knows? By doing so, you just might break through some barriers and innovate change. Thank you very much.